Hello and welcome everyone to today's look at the GrantStation website. I'm Jeremy Smith, GrantStation's Learning and Engagement Specialist. I host some of our online education offerings, conduct our tours, and handle GrantStation's internal and external tech and engagement issues. Joining me today is Carrie Glasser. She's our Director of Research. And together, Carrie and I will be providing you today with an overview of many of GrantStation's features, along with a look at how you can find funders on our website. Now, before we get into grant searches, let me explain what we do and show you around our major sections. So, GrantStation itself features a set of searchable databases filled with current grant opportunities. We provide tools and tutorials on grant seeking and writing, and we keep you up to date on the latest philanthropic trends. So, in short, a GrantStation membership will help you find funding opportunities, help you build a strong grant seeking program, write powerful proposals, and win awards to fund your mission. Now, one thing that differentiates GrantStation from all the other competitors out there and other databases is our policy of only listing active funders. That is, funders are only listed if they accept unsolicited applications, letters of inquiry, or some sort of unsolicited communication. Also, a GrantStation membership includes handcrafted funder profiles with the human touch. Our research team updates and adds content on a daily basis, so you know that you're seeing only the latest available information. Now, this way, you know you're getting sort of a hot list of funding sources that have been vetted by our researchers and they're actively accepting requests. So think of us as your personal backroom research team. We're pre screening funders and feeding you the most relevant ones for your program or project. So let's turn to the process of finding funding for our organization. How do you go about identifying the best grant makers to approach? An important part of your membership, and one we will talk about many times today, is your custom dashboard, which you can find right up here under My Dashboard. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what's there, but we'll come back later to look at each of these features in greater detail. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by clicking on our Projects tab right here. As you can see, now we have tabs across the top. We have our saved criteria, where of course you can save your criteria and saved grant makers. This is my plan. We'll talk more about how you can utilize that later. Also, reports or anything that you save from our various tools that we have. Pathfinder is anything you've saved from our Pathfinder section. I'll show you both of those a little bit later on in the tour today. Also, courses, anything you've purchased with GrantStation as far as online education goes, any orders you've made are under the Orders tab, and of course, my profiles where you can change your password, your username, and your email address. So here on the Projects tab, I want to talk a little bit about how to prepare to do your research. We really encourage anyone looking for funding to always do a little preparation before diving into the research. Now, our Projects tab and our various search terms really help you be more effective and efficient in your research. So here I am currently on the Projects tab, and I've actually already created a project for today's session. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. It's my animal welfare project. Go ahead and click on Edit. We'll open this up and see what's in here. So here's our scenario. It's a project that focuses on expanding pet adoption, spaying and neutering, and animal cruelty interventions. Some of the animals are rehabilitated and trained as emotional support animals for seniors at independent and assisted living centers in the community. This very first tab right here is our description. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's a high level overview of what you're doing with your project. Next, you have the statement of need. This will be used to identify keywords to help guide your research. And then finally, we have our budget tab. This is where you're going to want to itemize your budget needs. Include brand names where possible, as this can really help you identify potential product donations available from various funding sources. Now, once this is complete, we can think about the geographic scope of our project. So if I go ahead and click on geographic scope at this point on this tab up here, we can really figure out where our project is trying to focus. And since we're working within and throughout Pennsylvania in our scenario, and to make sure we receive custom alerts based on our project information, we have to select North America, USA, and of course, Pennsylvania as well. If we skip this step, we will not receive any custom email announcements. So keep that in mind. Also included as a part of primary research, that is the called the actual discovery of potential funding sources. We really encourage our members to familiarize themselves with our search terms. I'll go ahead and click on this glossary of search terms link right here so we can look at that in a little bit more detail. Occasionally, a search won't yield any practical results, and often that's caused by not having the right search term. Our search terms contain descriptions of the key terminology used on our website, and it's the same terminology used by the grant makers themselves. And it serves as a great guide when doing your keyword research. Now, to use this area, you simply enter in a keyword, you see which categories to check while searching, then you make a note of this on your project tab, and now you know you're on the same page as the grant maker. So, Carrie, how many different areas of interest do we currently have roughly available?
I think there are, give or take, around 230, and that's inclusive of types of support.
So there are a lot of different ways to search through this, and that can seem overwhelming. And that's why we have the keyword section. You'll enter in what you call something, then you'll know what section to search for it under. So, for instance, we're doing work with animals. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's just type in animal, and we'll click apply and see what pops up from there. So we can see under the environment and animal main category, we have animal welfare, which includes pet adoption programs, spay and neuter programs, humane treatment, humane societies, companion animal programs. This is definitely an area of interest for us to look into. Endangered species, probably not a good idea. But here's another one under health and wellness. There's animal assisted therapy and service dogs. Okay, so that includes guide dogs and canine assisted therapy and search and rescue dogs. This might fit for us as well, so I'll make a note of this on my project description worksheet. Now I know I'm on the same page as the grant maker. So let's go ahead and go back to our project tab, and you'll see that I went ahead and added some of those here. Again, you simply click various boxes, and that will add them directly to your areas of interest. So we've added environment and animals general, we've added animal welfare, we also added animal assisted therapy and service dogs. Now, you're going to want to think strategically about your project and the impact it'll make. While the animals are the initial beneficiaries of the project, and you can see that we have those selected here, seniors would also benefit from this. And of course, seniors' mental health would benefit from that. So I went ahead and added mental health here under our areas of interest. And then under targeted populations, we also selected seniors and the aging. But this is where you could also find various other target populations. You could choose from children and youth, or maybe minorities, or folks who are low income, or maybe veterans. You can really narrow down your searches and get just the right results you need. And up next is the type of support. And what we're looking for money for equipment, we're looking for general operating support, product donations, and even possibly training programs. And as Carrie mentioned, we have a lot of various types of support you can choose from. This is where you can find funds for capital building or capacity building. Maybe you need money for a film and video project you're working on, or maybe you need some funding for scholarships or some startup funding for a new organization, or maybe just some technology, some computers and some software, or travel expenses. This allows you to narrow down those results, the exact type of support you need. And then finally, we have our keyword section. This is where you can add in any specific keywords that may fit for your specific need. And we'll talk more about keywords later, but definitely be careful when you're using keywords. So let's go ahead and scroll back up here. And now that we've really sort of identified the the most relevant search terms, again, part of that primary research phase, ready to begin doing research with GrantStation searchable databases. So let me go ahead and discard the changes that I have on this one. We'll scroll back up to the top here, and we're going to go ahead and click on Find Grant Makers at this point, and we're going to take a look at what's available from the federal government. Now, we always encourage grant seekers to start their research by looking at government funding sources, and that's both state and federal government, as these sources can often provide most, if not all, the funding that you need. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ways you can search. You can search by eligible applicants, areas of interest, funding agencies, application deadline. You can also search by keyword, funding opportunity number, and CFDA number. Now, we could type in animal welfare right here under keyword, but I know for a fact there's really nothing currently available. I did my research earlier. The other area is taking a look at our state section. So we can go ahead and click on US state government and take a look what's available here. And this is a tremendous resource that's available to all of our members. This section of our website provides members with a listing of agencies that provide support in the form of grants, loans, contracts, technical assistance, and more. So to begin, you select a state, and then you use that to identify potential local resources available to your organization. So our project is based in Pennsylvania, so we'll go ahead and click on Pennsylvania at this point. And now we can see all the different categories of funding available throughout the Commonwealth. And right up here, we can see all the various types of general resources for putting together a needs statement, and then a breakdown on the right-hand side of all the different types of support as well. And then scrolling down, all the different categories that's broken down into. And I can see at a glance that there are lots of G's, which means there's grants available, but also the I here means there's some information, and the L, which I have to look up for to be sure, that's actually a loan that's offered as well. And these are all offered on the state-based level. This is very unique to GrantStation. This amount of state research is already done for you. You don't have to go out and do this yourself. Now, each link you find here will take you directly to the funding page for that state agency. There's nothing here that really fits our specific need. Again, I went through these already and checked them, but if they were a good fit, I could quickly save this and have this become a part of my dashboard. And I can come back later and see this under my saved grant makers. But this is important information to collect under the state and federal government section, because when you apply to a private funder, you can say that you've done your federal and your state research. And in case you don't find any options, like our case, you can say at this time there are no federal or state programs that can help us with our need. That way, the private funder knows that you've done your homework, which speaks to your credibility as an organization, and that private funding is the only option. So once you've completed this first phase of government-based research, you can now move on to our U.S. charitable database, and that's our private research. So I'm going to go ahead and close a couple windows here, scroll up a little bit, and as you can see from Find Grant Makers, you can access it this way by clicking U.S. Charitable, or from the Find Grant Makers main page, you can click U.S. Charitable right here. Before we get into the specifics on finding funders within the U.S. Charitable section, I wanted to mention a new feature we added recently, and that's our 990 PF information. Now, we have GS Verified as an option and 990 PF information. Now, GS Verified means that our team of researchers has crafted these funder profiles based on the funder's website, annual report, audited financials, and 990 reports. Now, you can review information about funders that aren't GS Verified, but that have filled out a 990 PF form by clicking on this tab right here. And the way it works is you'll enter in what you're specifically looking for, say a funder name or an EIN number. In this case, I'll go ahead and just type in foundation, and pulls up everything with foundation in the name. And then we can take a look at, say, the Arts Foundation. And from here, we can see where they've given, what year they've given, and who they've given to, and how much. And I think with that, I'll hand it over to Carrie.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. So here we are in the U.S. Charitable Database section. So this section has thousands of funder profiles, and this includes independent, family, community, and corporate foundations, corporate giving programs, faith-based grant makers, giving circles, associations that have grant making programs, and even some that are just listed as other sources. So the profiles that we have are searchable by geographic scope, areas of interest, types of support, the funder's name, and even by keywords. In the content area on the left here, you'll see a brief guide that'll help you through the search process. And then on the right is the navigation area where you can enter your search criteria. So starting under geographic scope, you can choose to search for global grant makers giving to US organizations, which increases your collection of options. But for now, let's click on Pennsylvania from our earlier search scenario. And we'll see that we have 623 results. And then let's choose national grant makers and see how many results we are given. So when we add that, that brings us up to 2317 results. As each criteria is added or subtracted, it will broaden or narrow the funding opportunities that are being displayed. This initial process here of choosing our geographic scope allows us to cast our search net as wide as possible, combining national opportunities with state-based ones to really see just how many funders might be able to support our need. And then once we start selecting other criteria, our results will begin to narrow to funding opportunities that are a more perfect fit for our needs. And if you want a bit more information on how this search operates, you can click on Learn More in the upper right corner there. And with that, I think we're ready to select an area of interest from our earlier search scenario, which was animal welfare. And we'll find that under Environment and Animals, and that's the third click box. So when we add that, we are narrowed down to 159 results. Let's add another criteria to this scenario here. How about we do something from types of support? And let's try general operating, which should be right in the middle there. So once we add that, we are narrowed down to 40 results. And if you want to narrow this search even more, you can remove national from the geographic search area by clicking that minus button right next to USA, and then focus on those funders that only give in Pennsylvania, and that gives us 14 results. I'd also like to quickly point out the keyword search that's at the bottom of this page here. While that search is a powerful way to narrow your searches, um, let's say you're looking for funding for a specific county or a borough or a very specific area of interest. We suggest that you exercise caution when using it so that you don't narrow your searches down too much. Remember that the keywords that you enter may not necessarily be the words that a funder would use.
Another way that you can search this section is by using the application deadlines. It's a way to narrow down the results to see just what's going to be coming available or what's ending the next 30 days, or 31 to 90 days, or 91 to 180 days, or look for funders with no currently available deadlines or funders who have no deadlines. This is a great way to narrow down your results even further, or only pull up different funding sources that fit your specific need, especially with your timeline. So if we scroll back up, I'm going to go ahead and add back in national. Simply just click that box. Again, very easy to search. Clicking on and off various boxes. That's how we can get our results. And taking a look at what we have here, there's one that I've already saved. I'm going to take a look at this one, and that's the American Fundraising Foundation Golden Pair Award Grants. But if you look right here, you see the NA. This means that I indicated this profile was not a good fit for me when I last reviewed it. This, I can always change that myself, but then I know not to even look at this. Even if it seems like a good fit, I've already checked this out. I know it's not a good fit. And you can do this for everything in our database, so you can save yourself time as you go about doing your research. So let's take a look at this one that I've saved right now. This is the American Fundraising Foundation Golden Pair Award grants. And as you can see that I have this saved currently to my dashboard. And right here, I can visit their website. I can also look at any of their social media links as well. On the left-hand side is a breakdown of their specific areas of interest. And I can see that they're focused on providing unrestricted support to social services, arts and culture, and most important to me is animal welfare. So that's a good fit for me. And they also provide support through the fundraising travel program. If I want to find out more about applying, I can go directly to their website. But then I have on the right-hand side options to go ahead and print the profile, email it to myself. I can then see contact information, the financial information offered by this funder, application information, the type of grant maker it is. I can review their grant history in the 990, and even a date stamp when this profile was last updated. And if I scroll back to the top, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the things that you can do when you're in your grant maker profile. We can, in fact, save this to our dashboard, as I have already done. And then more specifically, you can save it to a specific project. And then you can click on that and apply it to the project. So let's go ahead and unsave this one really quickly. Yes, I'm going to unsave it from my plan. And this is how easy it is. Now, oh, wait, no, I meant to save this one. So let's go ahead and save this. Now I have the option through the pop-up to choose what project. And since I made a project, I can go ahead and click on that one, which is the Animal Welfare Project 2025. I can change my priority. I'll make this a high priority one. And I can add in any specific notes and then save this. Then once I've clicked save, this has now saved it to my dashboard. And at this point, I think it's a good idea to go into the dashboard and talk about everything we mentioned there earlier. And I'm going to have Carrie walk us through that section as I open it up.
So here we are back in the dashboard section. And as we mentioned earlier, you can develop project descriptions, you can save your search criteria, save individual funders, and you can even track the status of your application process all through your own custom dashboard. So I'm going to have Jeremy pull up most of the sections in here so that you can get an idea of what to expect. And we've already covered this project section here. So let's go to the saved criteria tab and have a quick look around. You can select some search criteria and then name and save your search. Once that's in your dashboard, you can click the name that you gave it to rerun that search. This allows you to remember those terms that were most effective in finding funders for your programs so that you can run it again in the future and see if there are any new opportunities available. Okay, now let's go to the Saved Grant Makers tab. When you're looking at grant makers in the search, you'll see that you can save a funder to your dashboard, either from your list of results or directly from the profile itself. This tab here shows you all the grant makers that you've saved to your dashboard. You can see their name, the project you've assigned it, the priority you've assigned it, your application deadlines, if they have any, along with any specific notes that you might need to make. You'll also see something called the decision matrix in the middle there. The decision matrix is a tool that'll help you prioritize your leads so that you're focusing on those with the likeliest possibility of success and hopefully the least amount of effort. The key is to figure out the potential return on the investment of writing a proposal and then managing the award. Jeremy, could you show us a bit how that tool works?
Yeah, it's really easy, and it's a great way to make things a bit more streamlined, especially if someone comes to you and says, I found a great grant, you should apply for it. And if you're not really sure, you're like, oh, this is really out of my range, I don't have the time for it, it doesn't really fit. Well, you know what? You can always say, let me run it through the matrix. You can add your own grants directly into your dashboard and do it this way. Or, of course, any grant you find in here that's a good fit, you can run the decision matrix on it. And it starts off by just answering some quick questions. Do you meet eligibility requirements? Yes or no? And is the funding consistent with our mission? Yes or no? You have to answer yes to both of these before you can go forward. Otherwise, it's not worth your time and you'll be struggling uphill trying to find a specific, common ground with that funder. Then you get into the scored criteria. This is where you simply choose a number of 0 to 3, kind of subjective, where you put in where you think you fall. So are we in the funder's geographic giving area? What does that mean? I can click on that and learn more. So yes, we are in their giving area. Do we address the funder's areas of interest? Oh, we definitely do. Do we serve their target population? They didn't mention seniors specifically, but that's not a bad thing. So I'll give myself a 1 point. And again, it's just sort of you go through like this, putting in the various points, going over credibility and readiness, effort and timing. And then once you've done that, you'll end up with a custom score. And once that score is made, you'll see what to do with it. If it's 0 to 15, consider dropping them from your list. 16 to 30, they could be potentially backup funders. But if it's a really high score, 31 and above, that means this is a good fit for you and you should get going on those applications.
Thank you, Jeremy. You can also add a grant maker to My Plan, which is an interface where you can plan out the application process for that specific grant maker. And with that, we will go into the My Plan section right now and have a quick look around. So here we are in the My Plan section. So this section is a list of those grant opportunities that you've saved for a visual overview of the dates you need to monitor so that you can stay on track of your grant application submissions. You can track the progress of each opportunity, which allows you to take your research and then move it into action. Let's go into one of these plans and have a quick look. So we're in the American Fundraising Foundation. We have, of course, the name of the funder, which project this funder fits, the priority of the application, the status, such as if you've submitted an LOI or an application, the amount of the request, and then there are multiple date fields below all of that to keep you on track when working on your applications. Think of the My Plan section as your Grant Central station, if you will, of keeping a visual look at the comings and goings of your grants. On the main My Plan page, you can export dates to your calendar software, or you can export all of the data at any time. And you can also export data from your various dashboard sections at any time as well. And we're always adding and incorporating members' feedback, so new features may appear in the dashboard at any time also.
As I mentioned earlier, you can add your own grant maker right here. This is someone who may give directly to you, perhaps as a local grant maker, or maybe just one specific to your organization. You can add that and then track it and include it as a part of your plan. Again, this data and information is just yours. It's not shared with anyone else. So anything you put in here is just for you. And that's why we really encourage people to use the dashboard, because it gives you a really great central location to track your research and see where you're at with each specific funder. So at this point, let's go ahead and exit out of the dashboard, and we're going to go back to our search. And actually, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to go back to our dashboard again, and I'm going to use the Save Criteria tab. So I'll click on Save Criteria, and I showed it a little bit earlier, but I have one that I made about product donation. And again, it's using those search terms identified that work really well for me. I can run this, and I can run it at any time. I made this one over 2 years ago. So this is something that still works to this day. And you can see my search criteria is across the US and Pennsylvania. My specific areas of interest is animal welfare, and specific type of support is product donation. And I have one that I've actually saved here before, and that's the Purina Corporate Giving Program. And if we look at the breakdown, of course, we can sort these by clicking this top little arrow right here, or by clicking on geographic scope. But it says the Purina Corporate Giving Program gives specifically in St. Louis, Missouri. But then in parentheses, it says the product donation and disaster relief programs provide support throughout the US. Oh, so that might be a good fit for me. So I'll go ahead and click on this grant maker. I'm going to pull it up and then look at the full profile. And again, I can see the specific places they tend to give in. But remember, I saw that notification under product donations, and it says the company donates products to pet welfare organizations throughout the country. So this is a good fit for me, one that'll probably work best. I go ahead and save this to my dashboard and then go through the process of adding it to my plan and seeing if it's a good fit by running it through the decision matrix. In addition to these US-based grantmaker listings, we also have three other unique areas to search through. That's our international and Canadian charitable databases, along with our Canadian government section. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out some of these tabs, head back to our main page, and now under Find Grantmakers, we'll go ahead and let's click on Canadian Charitable at this point. So from here, this search functions exactly like the US Charitable, except it's focused specifically on Canada. Let's say that I'm working on an arts project in Nova Scotia. So I'll go ahead and start by choosing a specific province, in this case, Nova Scotia. And then once that's selected, I'm going to include national grant makers across all the various provinces of Canada. Again, seeing how big my grant world is. And now I'm going to narrow it down to a specific area of interest. And again, I'm focused on just an arts-based project, and I'm not specifically sure of it. So this is where you can use the general category, which is available within all of our areas of interest. And it'll pull up everything that doesn't fit under any of these specific categories. So we'll click on the general tab, and now we see our results. We have about 105 different results that we can scroll through. We can narrow this down by adding in more search terms. But that's how the Canadian Charitable Database works. And now here's a Canadian government database, which also functions much like our US state government database. You start by choosing a specific province. In our case, again, we're focused on Nova Scotia. So I'll just click on it from the list right here. Then from here, we get a breakdown of general resources. Then we see the specific areas of interest that are broken down into education, arts, culture, and humanities, environment and animals, etc., along with all the various types of support as well. If we go back one more time, we also have the option to take a look at national opportunities, and this is going to be financial technical assistance programs that are available across all of Canada. And of course, each of these focus on the specific opportunities of funding available within each given province of Canada. And the last one I want to take a look at here is our International Charitable Database. Again, this functions just like the other ones. You simply start by choosing where you need to get support and then narrow it down to that specific type of support you're looking for. So we are, let's say, addressing the issue of education in Australia. So we'll go ahead and start by choosing the continent area. In this case, it's Oceania. We're going to go ahead and add in a specific continent, or country, in fact, and that is Australia, sort of a country continent. And then we're going to add in global grant makers who live across all the globe. Then we're going to add in our specific area of interest. And again, we're focused on education, just a general type of project. And right now we see 257 results. We can easily narrow this down to more specific things. And if you look right here, this is true of all of our databases. When something is added to our database, it has a little new tag right here. So this is a new one that we've added. We could take a look at this and see if it's a good fit. And again, they give not only in Canada, but also globally. And they have these application deadlines. This might be something to look at. So I'd go ahead and take a look at this now, or I could save it to my dashboard and look at it later. And our international database is great for people who are based in the US and they're doing work overseas. And that's what you can use this section for. Now, if I go ahead and click on our logo, that'll always take you back to the home page of our website. And although we really pride ourselves on leveling the playing field through these easy to use, time-saving searches for funders that are actively engaged, we also offer in-depth long-term guides for building your grants program. Now, our build strategy section right here provides a complete walkthrough of articles that'll help you build a solid grant seeking strategy. Now that you've assembled a list of potential funders, again, this is known as primary research that I mentioned earlier, you're now ready to begin secondary research, which is to see just how good of a fit these potential funders are. This is where you can find articles explaining the types of web research to do, how to develop your grant program, policies, and team, along with how the IRS 990 form fits into secondary research, creating a grant seeking calendar, how to find time to do all this, and more. So continuing on from build, when you click on write proposals, and I'll click on overview right here, this is where you're going to find step-by-step tutorials that you can use to write a strong proposal from beginning to end with examples, with templates, and with resources. And you can break that down into various categories. We have getting started, proposal development, and then writing tips for effectiveness. This is also where members have access to award-winning proposals. And again, you can find them right here from the Write Proposals link. And these are from our grant writing competition that we hold. Reading successful grants will help you develop your own proposal writing skills, and GrantStation provides you with a multi-year archive of government and private examples, all proposals that have won awards, all available to you as a member of GrantStation. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit and talk about our online education section that we have right here. Now you can visit online education section right over here, and our webinars are not included with your membership, but they are available at an affordable cost for individuals or groups to participate in. All attendees receive access to not only the webinars, but also a recording of the entire session, along with any of the presenters' notes. Now you can also purchase past webinars in case you've missed them and want to take advantage of our vast library of resources in that manner. Now, if you're looking for a quick dip into a subject, on Mondays we offer what's known as our 30-minute Target Ed courses, and these cover a wide range of topics, from building a proposal writing team to a series on how AI can be used as a tool to help you secure grant awards. Now, if you're interested in learning on your own schedule, we also have multiple web-based learning courses that you can find right here. And we also have what we call sort of a go at your own pace video course, which is turbocharge your grant writing skills. It covers the entire process of writing and applying for grants step by step with our president of education and outreach, Alice Runke. She's a longtime grant writer and expert in the field, and it's an excellent way to learn how to do everything about applying for a grant. Now, up next is our public resources section that you can see right here. And from here, you can see that we publish 3 different newsletters which highlight upcoming funding opportunities. We have our weekly GrantStation Insider, which features distinct opportunities for US-based nonprofit organizations. We have our bi-monthly Canadian Insider that features unique funding opportunities geared towards Canadian organizations, and also our bi-monthly International Insider that features international funding opportunities broken down into global, regional, and government sections. Up next, we have our Trend Track section. This is where we have 3 more sections divided into this. This is our GS Insights blog. It's a weekly blog that features the thoughts and observations of our staff and guest writers, covering all aspects of the philanthropic world. We also have our State of Grant Seeking. Now, our State of Grant Seeking reports spotlight recent developments in funding so that organizations can be more strategic in their grant seeking, and they are a key analytics tool available for all organizations. These reports feature data by organizational budget size, mission focus, and government versus non-government funding. It's a great way to find sources of information. And also, this is where we have our benchmarker tool, which we'll talk about more in just a moment. This is also where you can find our Pathfinder tool. Now, this is an accessible and searchable library that provides profiles on top quality resources covering the areas of grant research, writing, and management, as well as strategic planning. And as a member, everything you find of interest in the Pathfinder can be saved to your custom dashboard. Speaking of tools, let's go into the benchmarker. We'll talk about this a little bit. This benchmarker tool is based on information that's pulled from the annual City Grant Seeking Survey. It's a resource that can strengthen your ability to secure grant awards by providing a realistic framework for your grant seeking plans and goals. Now, members can use this report to set grants program objectives, which define how much to pursue and from which types of grant makers. And you can save this directly to your dashboard. But if you don't have a membership to GrantStation, that's okay. Everything in our public resources section is available to the public, but it's very easy to use. You simply start off by answering a few questions, then you receive that custom report based on those questions you submitted, and then you can compare yourself to other organizations. If you like data, this is a great way to dig into what's happening and what's going on in the world of philanthropy. Now, another tool we have, which is available in our Build Strategy section, and that's known as the R3, and that's the Revenue Review and Report. Now, do you need a report for your leadership that's easy to read, accurate, and visually appealing? You can use this tool to help realize the grant's potential of your organization by reviewing where your funding is coming from today, projecting where your funding will come from in the future, and receiving recommendations on next steps for exploring funding sources. It's very simple. You simply need about 10 minutes of time and then a breakdown of grant awards and funding sources you have coming in. You'll put in the numbers, and you can, of course, put it in current or projected. You can do both or do them by themselves. You enter in those numbers, and once you put in the numbers, you can run it combined, run current, or run projected. And I actually went ahead and ran this one earlier. So if I go to my dashboard, I know that I have this saved under reports. So I'll click on reports, and then I will go ahead and pull up one that I've got where I did both. I can view it, and of course I can always edit it and then modify those changes that I find. So here's the numbers that I put in. Here's a visual breakdown of my current revenue, my projected revenue, my current grant revenue, my projected grant revenue, then my current non-grant revenue and projected non-grant revenue. But then this is the best part here. I get custom recommendations based on the numbers I entered before. It's all about how to diversify your portfolio. You can click on each type of these funders to learn more about funding, finding these types of funders, preparing applications, and managing specific awards. So this is a great visual tool that's available to you as a member of GrantStation to really let you see where your funds are coming from and where they are going to go in the future, or where you'd like them to go into the future. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up to the top here. Click on one more thing to show you. If you do have any questions and want to reach out directly to GrantStation, you can always click on About and contact us directly through our staff page, or click on Help and then contact us. That's also where you can find how-to videos that explain all the various features we have here at GrantStation. You can give us a call toll-free, email us, fax us, or even send us a postcard if you like. And of course, you can find more about all the people who work here at GrantStation as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on our logo and take us back to the home page of the website. And the thing to remember is that if you're doing a search for funding for any kind of project, it's important to identify the best grant makers to approach. Using GrantStation allows you to apply your time where it's most effective and efficient in your search for funding. Visit GrantStation to see our latest online education offerings in the form of live webinars, interactive workshops, and on-demand learning. GrantStation.com.